What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to Celio's Network. Today we're looking at some tournament results with Fusion Strike cards legal for play. And yeah, we'll look at the top 8 or top 16 or so decks. Probably not every single deck lists due to the duplicates. And we'll take a look at the metagame as well to look at some tournament results and analyze the metagame and talk about what decks are doing well. So if you're new here, be sure to subscribe to the channel for daily Pokemon TCG content, and check out my sponsors, PotownStore.com, the best place to get ptcgo codes, CardTrooperGames.com, where you can find booster boxes and singles, and also find all of my standard format deck lists on PokemonCard.io. Not sure why there's this extra glare on my glasses. It's throwing me off a little, but let's power through. So the $500 cash GG Tour Chill Showdown number 7 was held on November 20th, and about 200 players. I think there were 177 players that checked in for round 1. So a decent enough sized tournament to get some valid results out of. Here you'll see the metagame on play.limitlesstcg.com. I will leave the link to all of this in the description down below in case you want to export deck lists or take another look at the metagame share, win percentages, and whatnot. But Umbreon, Urshifu, and Mew Genesect were the only two decks that had higher than a 10% meta share. The next highest would be Suicune Ludi at 7, and Leafeon Intelion at 6, and Inteleon at 6 as well. So there were 32 Umbreon Urshifus and 24 Mew Genesects. So over a quarter of the tournament were these two, what I would call S-tier decks combined. And almost 1 in every 5 players was playing Single Strike Urshifu Umbreon. So these decks definitely took up a large meta share of the tournament. And neither of them won the tournament. So looking down here, we've got, like I said, in the kind of middle range, we've got Suicune, Ludi, Leafeon, Inteleon VMAX, Gengar Single Strike, Urshifu, Inteleon. Now, I do believe this includes multiple different kinds of Urshifu and Inteleon, because here we have Galarian Moltres, and lost it. And here, I know KVI was Galarian Moltres as well, actually, which is very interesting. And let's look at some other lists. Here we have Melanie Urshifu with Vaporeon. So the Urshifu Inteleon includes Galarian Moltres and Urshi, includes Melanie, it includes just straight Urshifu Inteleon. And then Sylveon as well, above 3% played. And down here we've got Suicune and Inteleon, which I played and Tate Whitesell played. We both used the same list. He bubbled at 9th. I made phase 2, but didn't do as hot. ZACIAN at 6, Galarian Weezing variants at 6, Obstagoon down at 2%, and then the rest really small. Jolteon and Intelion, only 2 people, Dragapult, only 3 people, Ice Rider, only 3 people, but it was a 177-person tournament, so not massive. So only so many people can play each decks, and obviously these are the 2 top dogs, and they are going to be pretty popular because of it. So, Joshua Sutherland actually ended up winning with Zacian Zamazenta, and Zacian Zamazenta also got another top 8 spot piloted by Rain. So Zacian Zamazenta, I did not expect to be a tournament-winning deck right now. Of course, it's a competitive deck with potential, but I would have selected about probably 10 to 12, maybe even 15 other decks if I had a guess for what deck would be winning a almost 200-person tournament with cash on the line. We see Suicune Ludi had 2 top 8 spots as well. Urshifu Moltres, 2 Mew Genesect, and a Jolteon. So let's start down in top 16. So I won't look at the top 16 decks that we have top 8 decks to look at for, but Simon Trottier Lacasse got top 16 with Rapid Strike Malamar. So I definitely wanted to take a little look-see-do at this. Nothing crazy about the list. It looks like a pretty standard list for Rapid Strike Malamar, except he's playing all of the Psychic Inkay, where most people want to play the Dark-type Inkay that has 60 HP. So the Malamar can survive. But actually, I'm going to double check that because Rapid Strike Malamar has not been played much since rotation. So why don't we make sure that the 60 HP Inkay is actually in standard format before I go and say that. D block. Yeah, it is. Okay, 60 HP Inkay does exist in standard format. I'm not going crazy. Let's continue with the video. But yeah, top 16 with a very rogue deck. That honestly wasn't that rogue right before rotation, or maybe a month before rotation before. Yeah, you get what I'm saying though. But yeah, not that rogue before rotation. But there's so much damage spread and sniping that it chased off most single price type decks. And there's less sniping going on. There's less damage spread. Just looking at this metagame, we have some very straightforward decks. Umbreon Urshifu, just smacking whatever's in front of it. Mew, the same. Suicune, the same. Gengar, the same. Leafeon, the same. And then we've got, Urshifu with Rapid Flow, obviously. And then Dragapult barely being played. Jolteon barely being played. So maybe single prizers have a shot when the meta shifts to this direction of just the big decks just swinging at each other and not a lot of sniping and damage placement. So that was definitely interesting. My mom, Joni794, top 16 with Leafeon. I was going to play Leafeon, and then Tate messaged me at like 3 a.m. and was like, why don't we play Suicune with hammers? I was like, yeah, I'm down. And my plan was, regardless of what I played, it had 2 Fan of Waves in it. I was either playing Leafeon or Galarian Weezing or Suicune. Regardless of what I played, it was going to have 2 Fan of Waves in it because Fusion Strike Energy, Capture Energy, Single Strike Energy, they're everywhere. Also Hiding Dark. So this is mine and my mom's Leafeon list. We took out healing because I said, hey, there's going to be no Jolteon and Dragapult today, so let's just take out healing. And, it was. So that came true. So that kind of metagaming stuff, I think, is kind of easy because you can see, okay, Jolteon, Leafeon, great decks. So we play Center Lady, sometimes even 2 in Leafeon. But Dragapult and Jolteon both don't want to see Single Strike. Single Strike / Gengar with Urshifu, some sort of fighting type is going to be the most popular amalgamation of decks. So Jolteon, Dragapult should not be played. They should be scared off, which means we can build our Leafeon list just slightly different. So this list got room for the 4th evolution Incense and the Fan of Waves by taking out 2 Pokemon Center Lady. Also, no Phoebe, because I didn't think ZACIAN was going to be played much. And it wasn't played much. There was only 6 in the tournament, but it did well. So there's always a difference between that. It could be very unpopular, but still do well. I actually don't think my mom played against any ZACIAN anyway. No, she did not. Okay. Yeah, she lost to Suicune Ludi, Leafeon, Sylveon, Mew, and Single Strike. She actually got donked in the Single Strike matchup. Okay, and then back to top 16. We've got the Malamar I talked about. So, Urshifu, Single Strike Urshifu did not make top 8, but it did make top 16. 2 of them made top 16. This is Lionfish Lovers list with a 4-2 Umbreon and a 3-1 Single Strike. Playing Switch and Air Balloon, and also playing Tool Scrapper. If you're playing Switches and it's not full Air Balloon, and you're playing some Switches, I do think I like Tool Jammer better. And then we'll just take a quick look at the other Single Strike Urshifu list here. 2 Switch, 1 Air Balloon, 2 Tool Scrapper. Really looking to try to beat the Suicunes. And let's see. Did beat 1 Suicune. Lost to Tate playing Suicune, and beat 4 Suicune 2 Ice Rider. So yeah, they did pretty well with the Tool Scrappers to get rid of the Toughness Cape, it seems like. Then we've got Herpu with Suicune, but this one has Inteleon VMAX in it. I think this list was awesome. Somebody else also played something like this with the Metacham in it as well, Rapid Strike Metacham, and I thought that was awesome too. Um, Big fan of this. Not even sure if it's like amazing or anything. Just a big fan. I think it's cool. I've only known about it for what, 8 hours now. So I'm not really sure that it's crazy for any reason, but looks functioning, looks solid, looks fun to play, so I'm all about it. So yeah, this Suicune Intelion with Inteleon vmax deck getting 10th place, and Tate got 9th. He bubbled at 9th. He had a top 8 record. This was the deck I played as well. I dropped at like a bad record. Like I made phase 2, but then didn't do well in phase 2. But yeah, so the idea of this was Fan of Waves against Mew and Gengar, Crushing Hammer as well, but Crushing Hammer can be used against everything. Echoing Horn to make our damage output higher. Path to the Peak to shut down Mew, shut down Crobats, etc. And so yeah, we wanted to beat single strike decks and Mew. And single strike decks plus Mew were more than 40% of the metagame. So I think it was a good call in hindsight. And you'll see Tate did well against Mew. He beat single strike. He beat Mew. He did lose to one Mew and then beat another single strike. I just consider Gengar single strike as well. So I think the deck worked out pretty well. And up here in top 8, we've got Adam Calamont and Ricardo Toddy both placing with Fusion Strike. Adam Calamont playing Galarian Articuno V. Discard 2, draw a card once a turn. Rodham Phone, Vitality Band. The Vitality Band's been popping up more, and I think I like it. By the way, I'll be updating my lists next week in a video and also on PokemonCard.io, but I do think I like the Vitality Band because in some matchups it means you need one less power tablet, and it saves you a power tablet for later. And then we have one person placing at all with Jolteon. There were only 2 Jolteons, and maybe only one made phase 2, it looks like. No. Both of them made phase 2. Oh, no, wait. Both of them did not make phase 2. You had to go 5-3 to make phase 2, and this person dropped at 4-3. Never mind. So yeah, one made phase 2. And here we have the one list that did get top 4 with Jolteon V... Top 4, top 8? Top 8 with Jolteon VMAX. Jolteon VMAX last format. I thought it was one of the best decks in the format and could have been the best if it dodges the Urshifus. Same thing here. It's not the very best if it dodges the Urshifus like it was in the last format, but it's still one of the top decks. And you'll see, up until their top 8 loss to Gabriel Semedo with Suicune Ludi, which should be very, very positive for Jolteon on paper, but Gabriel Semedo is a great player, and I'm sure played to all of his outs to make that win happen. But you'll see, in the first 13 rounds, the Jolteon player went 10-3, only losing to single strike decks. So it truly does feel like dodge Urshifu decks, dodge fighting type weakness, and the deck is really, really good. Because, you know, you do 100-100, and then they hit you, and then you heal, and then you do 100-100, and then next turn you take 3, 4, 5 prize cards, and then you just have to clean up your last prize card or 2. Also, Path to the Peak and Fan of Waves can hurt Mew and slow them down and give you more time to spread damage around. We'll go to Gabriel Semedo's Suicune. I think he tweeted out that he changed like 1 card or something since his initial Suicune Ludicolo list 3 months ago that started the Suicune Ludi craze. And I thought that was cool because I've been preaching to people, you don't need Fusion Strike cards to be good. You don't need to buy cards. You don't need code cards. You know, it's great if you want to experiment and build new decks and have fun and open the cards, but don't feel like you're paywalled out of the game just because you can't buy new cards right now. Gabriel doesn't have a single new card in this list. He hasn't changed the deck 99% of it for 3 months, and he got 2nd place. So, Suicune Ludi, not much to say, because it's a deck we've been covering that every content creator has been covering for months now. It's still very good, and congrats to Gabriel for placing so well with it. And then in first place, drumroll please, is Joshua Sutherland with Zacian V, Zamazenta V. Let's open up the list. Just 2 rows, super clean. Look at that. So, really not a lot to say about this deck. It's so simple. Intrepid Sword, get an energy or 2 down. There are some VMAX decks that you can just wall out with Zamazenta V, but less than prior. Single Strike Urshifu VMAX can swing through it. Mew VMAX does have an attack that does 130 and goes through effects. So there aren't as many matchups that you just get the Zamazenta down and you win it. But it's a consistent deck with very, very strong basic Pokemon. And a lot of times you're going to be able to out-aggress your opponent because you have very, very strong basic Pokemon. And because it only runs 8 Pokemon, you have all this room for stuff. You have 4 Rotom Phones, 4 Boss's Orders, 4 Cape of Toughness, so you're always gusting when you want to. You always have extra HP. You can always set your top deck or even put something on top and grab it with Oranguru. So it's a consistent, aggressive deck, and that does get the job done sometimes. So possibly I underestimated Zacian for this metagame, or maybe Joshua just played a deck he likes, played it well, and got a little lucky along the way, because those are the rules here. That's all you got to do in this format. Pick a deck you like that functions and is decent, play it very well, and get lucky along the way. You see this in huge variety of decks doing well today. Top 8 had 5 different decks: Mew Genesect, Zacian, Jolteon, Suicune Ludi, and Intelion. And then Urshifu Moltres, actually, Inteleon. And KVI, let's just mention, I completely skipped his Galarian Moltres list. Gosh, yeah, I completely skipped his Urshifu Galarian Moltres with 3 Raihan, which I really like because you want to like lead a Sobble, let it get knocked out, and then boom, it's game time. And if like Mew knocks out your Galarian Moltres, you could just set up another. So, looking at KVI's matches, KVI went 12-1-2, not losing a single game until round 15 in top 4. Round 15, KVI went into. In Swiss, 8 rounds of Swiss we had, beating 2 Single Strike, 3 Suicune Ludicolo, Simon playing the Rapid Strike Malamar, and 2 Mew VMAX. And then in Swiss number 2, which was 5 extra rounds for phase 2, beat a Mew VMAX, a Single Strike, and a Suicune Ludi. There's the top 3 decks of the format right there, taking them down, bing bang boom, and then IDing into cut with Ricardo and Joshua, beating Mew VMAX again, just dominating in top 8, and then top 4 finally being taken down by the great Gabriel Sametto. So shouts out to KVI. Completely skipped over your list there at first, but what an insane run. Oh my god. And taking down so many of the top tier archetypes along the way. But yeah, so like I think we have about 8 to 12 different archetypes in top 8 and in top 16. And then aside from Umbreon and Mew taking up a very large chunk here, really diverse in like the 3 to 8% range. There's like more than 10 decks in the 3 to 8% range of meta share. So those are the results from today. Let me know where you think we're going after this. I think we'll see some Phoebes being added back into Leafeon. I think we'll see more Jolteons being played because people see that it's fine to play, just get a little lucky and dodge the Urshifus. And also Jolteon has a good Zacian matchup because you play 3 or 4 plant or path to the peak, and you could just shut off Zamazenta and just be knocking out 2 Vs at the same time. And maybe people will finally start experimenting more with Suicune and Intelion without the Ludicolo. Like myself and Tate played it with Hammers, Herpu, and somebody else. Mathliu, was it? No, somebody else played it with Inteleon VMAX as well. We can probably just go and try to find that real quick. Suicune and Inteleon. Marco Cifuentes. Tate actually beat him. I thought this list was awesome as well. This is the one I was talking about with Metacham. So I think I like Suicune and Intelion, that core. You've noticed on my channel and on my streams probably, and even in just the lists that I post, the Suicune and Intelion core really interests me because it's very similar to the Zoroark GX core and similar things we've seen like that throughout Pokemon, that it allows you to play kind of a skill-based game and also a skill-based deck building process in trying to see what crazy things you can fit into the deck that will actually work. So um, things like that are actually succeeding a good bit right now, compared to, a year ago this time, maybe when we were playing just, Pikarom, Eternatus, ADP, whatever. Things are really good now. This is a great format. I think this would be like an actual like top tier format if somehow VMAXs weren't worth 3 prizes, but they are, and this is where we're at, and I'm still having fun. So let me know what you thought about the results. Did it surprise you to see Zacian Zamazenta up there on top? Urshifu, Galarian, Moltres possibly finally being cracked, or just in the hands of a good player up here, placing third and going 12-1-2. Gabriel Samedo's Suicune Ludicolo list being unchanged for 3 months. Jolteon making it through. No Gengar VMAXs in top 16. Tell me what you think about it all. Thanks for watching. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time here on Celio's Network.